Hey there guys, how you doing? This is Ice9 and we're going to do another Madden Mobile video. We're going to cover Ultimate Legends for the week, a pair of LTs. The old school LT and the newer school LT. And then we're also going to be covering the draft and kind of what I found with the players. I posted something on Mudhead too, and we'll just get into that a little bit. We had our mystery boxes open this morning, and they were podium packs. I had 17 of them, and because of that, I was able to do Solomon Thomas again and put him on the team. The stats are decent. I would like to see what the positional hero defensive end has to offer. This is just an okay 99. I mean, looking at it, pursuit's really good. Speed is obviously really good. Just a really athletic defensive end, but power moves and finesse moves are both low 90s. Block shed isn't too high, so it's not a real strong 99 card, I would say, but good enough to put in there for the time being. It is nice to have fast defensive ends, I think. So, and then I'm giving the John Ross card a try here. A lot of people are really liking this card. 99 speed will definitely get your attention. However, I think a lot of people are finding out, and he's 5'10", 5'11", that 99 speed just doesn't mean throw it up deep to the guy every time. It's just, it doesn't work like that, and especially in Hall of Fame settings, it definitely doesn't work. Guy's got to be open. Sometimes he's going to get loose. But you still have to make the correct read. I think one thing that he might be really good for too, though, is some of these crossing patterns like slants if you hit him at the right time in the pattern. FL drag if you've got him wide receiver one, and kind of those crossing patterns, he might get a little bit more loose there and get a lot of yards after the catch. So I think that's what that card is really going to be good for. But it's just a cool card to have. I mean, for 25 podiums, you can get, an outstanding player like that. And it's not just like the X Factor players where it just gives you a lot of speed and not much else. All the other stats are pretty good too. Really high carry. And that is one of the things that I will talk about when it comes to the draft players, and how EA has kind of balanced things a little bit within a promo. You've got a monster defensive end that they've brought out as part of the promo. He's definitely a problem. I like him. I like lining him up at that strong side position over that broken right tackle because that's the best way to use the guy's speed. I mean, he just really... I've noticed in head-to-head already that he's just very disruptive. He beats the tackle a lot of times, and he's just a really, really good player here in Myles Garrett. And then, of course, the boosts are phenomenal. So to balance that out, they got the master player here. This obviously is a lot harder to do. You got to get the, picks 2 through 10 to do this set. So it is very difficult, but because it is a set-based type of thing, with the mystery boxes coming out this morning, and, you assume prices continue to fall throughout a promo. So hopefully we get a bit longer with these live events so more people could do this and drive prices down a little bit more. And are maybe able to do this player. I have noticed in Hall of Fame, and I don't think I have any drives to play. I'll check that out in just a second, but I don't think I have any Hall of Fame drives to play. Yeah, I do not. So would have liked to have done a little bit of gameplay, but I have noticed in Hall of Fame that Fisher does make a difference. He definitely does make a difference in terms of blocking, especially on run blocking. I would say he makes quite a bit of difference. I have also noticed a little bit more time to throw the football. So not a ton more. Hall of Fame is still Hall of Fame. The right tackle position still broken. He's not going to be as dominant as his stats say he will be at right tackle, but it's a very, very good card, and certainly it's a legacy card. I mean, there's no doubt about that. I think that both this and Garrett, it's hard to foresee with those great boosts, other players that could come out that would replace him. I mean, some of the things that are coming out like GTs and things like that, they're mostly going to be skilled position players. So with that being the case, these guys should make a lot of people's teams. So the first thing out of this promo in general, out of draft, I think you got to get Garrett. And I know a lot of people are really mad about that set after, having that number one pick, and they said it was going to be a boosted player, so number one held its value a lot more than 2 through 10. So, a lot of people were really mad when they EA brought out these sets after the fact that for 50 podiums that you could get Garrett. I happen to think it's very cool. Somebody in my league picked him up for 999,000 coins. Just, call it 1,000,000 coins today. I think that's cool that people have access to this kind of content. This is really better than a boss player with the double boost. Really, really good stats. I think this is the right way to go. And so, maybe everybody has access to a player like this is the thing, but you have to have some programs like this where people do have access to really good players like this with boosts, because otherwise, it's just down to people who work the auction house and who have a lot of coins and know how to take advantage of the economy with rare cards. Between the picks, the before the draft and the sets after the draft, it's going to ensure that the prices of these players are low. And I think that is a very good thing. It's the right way to go moving forward. That means somebody like me, if you work hard and, grind, I was up till 4 a.m. grinding on one stamina, just trying to get as many podiums as possible. That really rewards that type of thing, and not just people who know how to work the auction house, know how to buy up a boss type player when they come out, if it's a pack only type of thing, and then just kind of snatch them all up and relist them for higher prices. Let's face it, that's what a lot of people are doing to make coins. You're not going to make millions and millions and tens of millions of coins by flipping silver trophies or something like that. You're going to be buying rare items and then listing them for higher, once they're out of packs. That's what a lot of people are doing. I think that's been a frustrating way. It's been frustrating for me to see that in a lot of ways, because having these great players in packs, but they're 20 million plus coins, it ensures that only very few people are going to be able to afford them. And you shouldn't have so much based on the luck of the draw. That's just my opinion. So, again, I know a lot of people are upset because they, I spent 3 million coins on a one pick, so I got kind of burnt out of this whole thing too. I lost coins, but you know what? I got a really, really good player. Just can't complain about it. And the fact that other people can get this really, really good player too doesn't upset me in the least. I think that the majority of the good cards in this game need to be more like that. Have some kind of promo where there's a live event portion, maybe packs, and just a way, auctionable parts, and just a way that people can get really, really good players. I think that is the better way to go, in my opinion. And you could see EA has played around with that a little bit. They don't like, they want people to spend money, so people just monopolizing things in the auction house doesn't make EA any extra money. That's just a way that people could, work the system and make more coins and not have to spend Madden cash for various things. They're just working the auction house. So that doesn't make EA any money. And then the other side of it is too, is that it just frustrates a lot of people in the game, especially now, as I've talked about many times, overall is more important than ever. So anyways, Garrett has to be the first priority for anybody out of this promo. You got to try to get Garrett. That is my opinion. I know that Fisher is a lot tougher to do because you need those picks 2 through 10. Picks 2 through 5 require 35 podiums, and then the other 5 require 25 podiums. So that's a lot of work. That is definitely a lot of work, and that's burning a lot of 98 and 99 players. So I realize a lot of people may not be able to do Fisher, but you should definitely try, and it does make an impact on gameplay. Running plays, even at Hall of Fame, it seems to me that especially run blocking has made a huge impact. Well, no pun intended. Holes open up quicker. Holes stay open a little bit longer. It's a little bit easier to run the football. I had a countered bunch HB dive. I posted this on Mudhead already, but it really stood out to me, this play. I had a bunch HB dive that was low countered with low severity, and Frederick got to the second level and put a block on Boss Nishke, and Nishke literally couldn't get off the block. He didn't pancake him, but he just couldn't get off the block. And Dorsett, I just ran right by, and, he couldn't make a play. He just could not make a play. And that's just something you don't see at Hall of Fame levels too much. So, if you can go for it, if you do have millions of coins, you need to be trying to work on this. The time is definitely now to try to work on getting Fisher. It's going to make a huge difference on your team right now. Otherwise, you're saving coins for what? To try to avoid a boss player that you can't afford, or I'm not sure what else you could do with those kind of coins right now. If you have somewhere in that 4 to 5 million coin range, maybe even a little bit less. Maybe you could build Fisher for 2 or 3 million coins. Maybe you could spend Madden cash and just really use stamina refills and work the live event. That is going to be a really good card to go for right here. If you can't afford him, what I have found at the very least, and I haven't used Ross too much as of yet, you kind of compare the stats. Ross is faster and more elusive, a little bit more acceleration, just really good, well-rounded stats, really is what it is on both cards. But what I've found for the way that I play is that Davis is easily, he's got to be in the top 5 in wide receivers in this game right now. And there's some very cool things that they've done with the stats on this to kind of balance the game. We see with Fisher versus Garrett and how the two cards kind of balance each other out. Impact block versus block shed, etc. So having both cards are obviously going to be very helpful. If somebody has one card and not the other, they may be at a little bit of a disadvantage. So ideally you want to try to get both cards. But if you can't get Fisher, I think Corey Davis here is a great pickup for a lot of teams. Definitely better than Team of the Year Julio. Much better. He's got glue hands. And with that really, really high carry and catch and strength, what I found with this card is that he could go up and get it a little bit. I had a countered deep attack at wide receiver 1 where, I was in a long 4th down situation in league drives and got a medium severity counter and got a 50-yard completion to the guy. throwing it to him in curls flats when NTL's right behind him and absolutely obliterates him after he catches the ball. He holds on to it more than any wide receiver that I've used. And even versus last year, what I will say is even some of the GT and boss cards, a lot of them didn't have this really high 92 carry number. And I think the carry combined with the strength and the high catch, he's got high trucking too. There's a high probability of yards after the catch, but he's just extremely reliable. In terms of a possession receiver, he's very reliable and can do a lot of everything. So I definitely recommend the Corey Davis card, and I know that some people too. We'll just go back into the sets here, and then we'll cover Ultimate Legends. So going into draft, we see Easter is gone. And also here, so this Mike Williams card here, I'm hearing good things about. Some people like this even better than Davis. A lot of the same types of things, but the carry is a little bit lower. The jump isn't especially high, and he's not quite as elusive, but a very, very strong card. Very strong wide receiver, and I hear that he also comes down with a lot of footballs, that this guy is also a really good card for the 98. I still do think that as well as being one overall better, but I just think this Davis card is just really well-rounded. In some ways, maybe even better than Boss Randy Moss. I mean, for possession plays with that high carry. I'd still rather have the Moss card, obviously, but I mean, this is just a great way to go, and it's not too expensive to do this. So, that's the things that I would look for. Okay, let's go into Ultimate Legends for the week. And we've got the two LTs. I don't know if they realized this when they did it. I'm sure somebody knew, but you got two LT cards, and it's funny when people refer to it LT and then somebody starts talking about Tomlinson. No, this is the first LT right here. And if we look at the stats on this card, 95 zone coverage out of a Lawrence Taylor card. Usually on LT's cards, they do, it's a pass rushing, it's a Von Miller type of linebacker. The reality was, and I am old enough to remember Lawrence Taylor, although I was a teenager, Lawrence Taylor was a great coverage linebacker as well. He was extremely well-rounded player. Great run stuffer, obviously one of the most dominant pass rushers, if not the most dominant pass rusher of all time. And he was a very good coverage linebacker, too. The guy just played hard every play. He was a great player. So 91 speed, 94 strength. This is a really good card. 86 man and 95 zone coverage, 94 pursuit, really high base tackle. This is a card that does justice to how great of a player he was. 20.5 sacks and was the MVP, the only linebacker to ever be an MVP in the league. I want this boss card. I must say. I would love to have this boss card and have a Taylor card on my team. I just think that would be awesome. I don't know if it's going to happen, but we'll definitely check him out at the auction house. But that is definitely a fantastic card for a set-based Ultimate Legend. Now, Tomlinson here, and, EA is still holding back a lot of cards. 96 speed. Tomlinson's boss card is the first running back in the game with base 97 speed, other than CJ2K, which in reality boosts himself to 98. But this is a pretty good card. The catch is decent, very elusive, pretty good. This is pretty good set-based card once again. So that is definitely a pretty cool card. So Let's check out each in the auction house now. And let's do Taylor first. Yeah, that boss card is just shockingly good. And you could see here, he was actually dipping to the low 20s, but looks like supply has dried up a little bit, and there's only a couple of them out there. But man, look at everything green over Von Miller besides Pursuit. And this is just an insane card. It really is. 90 man coverage, 95 zone coverage. This is a Derek Brooks card that could stuff the run. And one thing that I will say now about linebackers, because Fisher is out there now, I think that one adjustment that I might have to make and what other people might have to make for the rest of the year with a 4 impact block booster on teams and better offensive linemen going along with it for the rest of the year, I think that a card like these is going to be more important whether you run a 4-3 or a 3-4. I think the guys that run the 4-3 might have to start going away from this Collins card, which I believe has 77 block shed. Even though that's a great coverage linebacker and really, really good stats with good power moves, he just doesn't have high block shed. And with that being the case, he's not going to be able to, with that impact block boosting, this is going to be a card that I think is going to be more vulnerable and stuck on blocks. You're going to have to use like the Von Miller or cards that normally 3-4 guys would go for. Maybe use for the time being the Irvin card instead of the Collins card. Instead of running weaker middle linebackers like this guy here or some of the other more coverage-oriented middle linebackers, you might have to run some guys that have some higher block shed, and definitely have Garrett boosting block shed as well. And, for the guys who have Randy White too, that's a great thing, +3 block shed. But I think that's going to be more important to try to, get their linebackers to make plays on the run. Because that's where I've seen that the Fisher cards made the biggest difference. Pass blocking is still pass blocking. Garrett's still going to outquick this guy. I see it very frequently so far. Right tackle is still broken. And now with the Garrett card, you've got a guy with monstrous speed and acceleration at that position. If they put him strong side, I've just seen him outquick Fisher, not only in the outside pass rush, but on the inside pass rush. I've seen Fisher just not be able to keep up with Garrett. I pay attention to these things when I'm playing sometimes, as well as trying to, play and throw the football and score and things like that. But I've noticed that, the Garrett card is still going to beat this guy a lot. So that's going to make a difference in terms of the passing game, even though that everybody blocks a little bit better because the impact block boost. On the run game, though, it does make a difference, and it seems like the running game is opened up even a little bit more. And with some of the changes that EA has made to gameplay, it's a little bit harder to pass now, and it's a little bit easier to run. Just a little bit easier. It's balanced things out a little bit. And, I got to say, in general, that, I've liked that EA has brought out a promo that has had various things kind of balancing each other, and cards with really high carry at the wide receiver position to try to balance out NTL a little bit. NTL is still going to make a lot of plays, but if you've got a wide receiver with really high carry, base strength, and catch, he's going to catch more in traffic. And what I've seen with Davis, he really is. He's like a Jerry Rice card, like you'd expect a really good Jerry Rice card to play. Just glue hands, and it's not an expensive card at all. So that is basically it, guys. Just wanted to talk a little bit about that. Positional Heroes comes out. I will let you know. Keep working on the draft. There also is two. Fletch just talked about this. So let's find it. You still don't get a player for the first win in Positional Heroes, but Throwbacks is one stamina for the day. So that is going to be the one to work on. I'm actually going to work on that quite a bit, even though preventing 45 rushing yards is very tedious. It takes a while. Put in the field goal block play. By the way, that's the one that seems to work the best. You just run it. You don't even have to use or anybody. Seems to work pretty well. So that's the one I would recommend doing. And more promos come out, I will let you guys know. Thanks for watching.